to 47 countries.
We are currently rolling.
Okay. Hi, Amanda Browder.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I can't remember your name now.
My name's Brad Fiore. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, cheers.
Okay. Well, the reason I wanted to talk to you today is as a fledgling interviewer, I wanted to get some advice from a more seasoned,
oh great,
a more experienced, a better interviewer.
Oh. Thank you.
And so I was hoping to get some advice and some pointers.
Okay.
Because as an interviewer, I can sometimes be awkward.
But that's okay. It's okay to be awkward.
Is it okay?
Why not? I mean, like that's what makes the conversation a lot more charming and unique if you can make the interviewee a little uncomfortable.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Is that happening right now?
Sure.
Okay.
Maybe not for me. I feel cool.
So
as a cucumber.
So give me your top 40 list of best. I'm just kidding. So what would you say? What's rule number one for good?
Okay, so is it like what to do beforehand or like
what do you do if you know you're interviewing Damien Hirst?
Oh shit.
What do you do? What's the first? And you know, and you're interviewing him tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do you do?
You wear a lot of deodorant.
Okay.
Because you know you're gonna be sweating a lot. Because it's nerve-wracking. You know, it depends on the person. Like I always have a hard time interviewing people I look up to because you go see these artists sometimes that you really love and you get very, very nervous. So at times I take a lot of notes just to like remind myself because the worst thing that can happen is you don't have a question to ask somebody.
Right.
And then you're sitting there going,
yeah. Well, what happens to me a lot is I, especially in like an interview that I've prepared a lot for, and this one I didn't prepare for at all, so I'm safe. An interview that I prepared a lot for, I will have like set questions, and so the person will be talking, and I'm thinking in my head, all right, so I'm gonna have a really killer question when they're done talking, and like not listening to what they're saying.
I've done that too.
And so I realize one of two things happens: either I can't think of a good question, and they stop talking, and I have nothing to say, or I think of a killer question that has nothing to do with what they were saying.
Totally.
And so, like either way, so I've ended interviews prematurely because I have nothing to say.
I know you have to bring something charming up in the conversation in the end.
Something.
Just something like pick something random or. You know, if all else fails, you can say, so what does your future look like? Or what are you going to do for next year?
This is great.
These are basic filler questions.
I should be taking notes. Okay, so basic filler.
Yeah, you have to have two brains going at the same time, all the time.
Oh, okay.
Which is like listening to the conversation. I found what really helps me kind of do both at the same time is you're listening on one end, right? So this is the wheel, listening. And then you just get like every other word or like keywords. You're like, oh, they said something about, you know, watermelons. And so then all of a sudden in your other part of your brain, you're like, I need to ask a question about watermelons. Because they said something about watermelons and that could be an easy segue. And then they say something really awesome and you're like, oh, that's the question I'm going to ask. And then boom.
But what if you don't get that?
Then you're
just screwed. Then you're just a crappy interviewer.
Yeah, or you go to your notes. You get like a few list of words. I don't actually, and I prepare.
You don't have notes, but you're on the radio, so you could have like pages and pages and no one would know.
Yeah, but it actually hurts me more to do that because then you get so bogged down on like reading the question that you wrote that it's not as like conversational and kind of like loose. Okay. So I actually like not writing a lot of notes, not writing a lot of things down, but just like a few key words to come back to and be like, oh yeah.
Watermelons.
Watermelons.
So I heard you're really interested in watermelons. See, I'm applying.
Obviously, you don't know anything about my art, so
that's the other.
No,
but see, that's the other thing is like, and I mean, like, I feel like most people that I would interview, most people I have interviewed are really nice.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't be like because you have the power to be like I'm really insulted, and then but then just sit there and just like shut up. And like, what, like, has that happened?
Yeah, totally. Like, you ask a question where you're like, oh, so you did that piece last year? And they're like, no, that wasn't me.
You're serious.
And you're like, oh,
yeah, right.
Shit. And then you just feel horrible. And you try to
then you just cry.
No, thankfully.
No crying?
You're doing good. I will tell you, from one point, so one thing I've learned over the years of doing the interviewing is you have to be a good listener.
Okay.
And
I'm not.
No. That's why I was laughing.
You were going to say that I'm not?
Well, no, I was laughing because I was like, he's talking about himself for a good 20 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And which is not bad.
You can't do that?
Well, no, it's not bad. It's that, like, okay, say you're an audience member, right?
Yeah.
And you're listening to this show to
you don't
hear
care about
this person.
Right.
No. You need conversation, because
right.
conversation, like, you know, lets you know you're a human and that person's a human, and it's all, like, good feelings straight across. So, but you do need to get that. You need to give an opportunity to the interviewee to talk.
Okay.
And to think about those things. So that's a hard, I find that hard too, because I always want to be like, and then this too, right? And then I'm like, oh shit.
Well, and I think there's sort of an overcome, I mean, because now I'm going to do it again, we're talking
That's totally cool. We're talking it through together.
We're talking it through, so this is more of a therapy.
This is back and forth.
We should have the thing, one of us should be laying down, I don't know which is the.
I know.
But,
I think it's you.
I think because in my last interview, it'll be I'll try to get the other person to talk a lot, and I almost don't say anything.
Yeah.
And there's a balance, right? Because for you watch Conan O'Brien, and part of it, you're watching, you might tune in for a specific guest, but you like Conan O'Brien too.
Totally.
Maybe I'm talking myself up a little bit.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
No, 100% correct.
Yeah, and so it's a conversation. But I think this that's happening right now is way better than the interview. I mean, this we were calling it a conversation.
No, it makes sense.
Which is which helps me a lot. I'm not talking about it as an interview and more.
No, it's totally, it makes sense. Yeah. Because then you can, but see, that's where it takes practice. It's like saying, okay, here's going to be the time slot of our interview. What do I want to do in this time? Like, I know it could look like a conversation, but I also want to hit these, like,
hit certain
points.
Marks.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate those two sorts of things? Because you want it to feel casual and fun, so it's not like a conference, like a super serious talk, but then also hit like certain points. How do you do that?
You just have to kind of like
tell me how right now.
I can't.
Okay.
We have to go to the Shaolin Temple and spend like 10 years of interviewing. Yeah. Just nonstop. No, actually, I don't know. It's just kind of you start with one question and you get kind of like a good long answer, and then within that answer, if you can find like some sort of connecting point, it's a lot of connecting the dots. I mean, I'm the queen of tangents. Like, if you hang out with me on a regular friend basis, I will take you to new places that make no sense.
Well, and
get lost.
Right.
You know. So it's that practice of like saying, okay, go to this point, but don't go all the way. You know, so it's like, okay, get to there, then that's exciting, but you have to like hold off and like let the person finish the next tangent, and then you're like, oh, okay, and then you can relax.
Well, and I think part of the problem is that both our projects are run by artists, interviewing artists, and so, I mean, talk about tangents. I mean, I think it's our job to make tangents, right? So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think that therein lies the problem, right?
Yeah, we're analytical people.
Analytical people with like no attention span. So.
And we're drinking coffee. I need to drink mine.
I had an energy drink before this, and I'm pretty sensitive to coffee.
You know, a beer actually is kind of a little bit easier on the interview, I must admit.
Yeah.
Because then you just feel a little more mellow. You're like, right.
You don't care if you, Yeah,
beer in the morning.
But one, not like
just one, not five, because then it's just bad. That's a 2-person show. Yes.
Okay. So self-medication. That's tip number one. Number 1 or 2. I don't know.
Wear a comfortable clothing.
Well, okay, I always do. This is all I.
Yeah. 3, have a few list of key items to task.
Didn't do that.
People.
Okay.
So that sucks. Failed.
All right, so I got 2 out of 3.
But at the same time, you didn't fail because we've talked about interviewing and what it's about.
So complete success.
You've done it so far, yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in.
Oh, have some jokes. That's a good thing to have too. Have some funny moments to bring in there.
That's what I've been doing the whole time.
I know, that's successful. I'm trying to come up with a list of things.
Of things that I have already done?
Or that you did a good job with. I don't know.
So are my jokes, have I done good jokes?
Yeah, you've had good jokes. You're funny.
Or? Is there one thing? And
no, that's all I can think of. I don't
super
know.
Handsome. Alright, okay, well, 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
No, you're
going to end up using probably 3 minutes of this whole conversation. The best, and it's going to be all my best.
Yeah, just your moments. Actually, just get moments where you ask me a question, and then me goes, but, and then it goes to your question.
You're not even in the shot, actually. This is going to be a video of me talking and just telling jokes. This is my debut.
I love this idea. This is very good. I like this interview a lot.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Now what?
I was just thinking, like, I hope she talks more. Because now I don't know what to say.
I know, it happens. Isn't that hard? And then you get into like a valley of uncomfortability. It's a hard thing interviewing people because, like, when you're with your friends and you're hanging out, you kind of know their quirks and you can kind of make fun of them. And this one, it's like that balance of like wanting to not impress them, but make them feel comfortable and impress them, and also be engaging enough so that the conversation is not dull or silent.
For an audience.
See, I just filled space right there.
I was actually learning and not thinking of another question. My question that I had saved was, how's the coffee? And I was thinking that would buy me a little bit of time, but now it's not.
I know. Coffee's delicious.
Great.
Do you want to ask about the foam or something? Or
that was my next question.
Or no.
So awkward.
Right. Should we just have an awkward moment?
So what inspires you?
In interviewing?
Yeah. What makes you get up in the morning and want to just...
Funny. I mean, how do you interview an interviewer? Like, because like I think it's easier to interview artists. Like, if I had to interview somebody that interviews people...
Well, artists like to talk. Well, not all, but I like to talk. If you were asking me about my work, that's really easy.
I have to admit, it's sometimes... Another thing that you have to work on in being an interviewer is getting people to talk. Because a lot of times, they will answer your questions.
Artists specifically? Or...
Anybody. But, like, sometimes you'll get artists, you can say... hello, and then they talk for a half hour. And you're like, great, that was easy.
Right.
Other people, you say hello, and they say hi.
And so they agreed to come on the show, knowing that they don't want to say anything.
No, they're not talkers. You know, it's just like teachers. You know, some people are, or lecturers. Have you ever been in like a school and like a really famous artist comes to give a talk and it's like a total train wreck? Because they just are not good public speakers. It doesn't mean they're bad artists. They're just maybe not top-notch speakers, which is fine.
And so what do you do? You ask very specific questions?
Sometimes you have to be very specific. Okay. Sometimes you have to like try to find that little glimmer in their head that seems to make them excited about one specific theme. So like, or if you know that they're about their work in some way, you can say, oh, so tell us the history of this beginning to end. When you were born until now, explain what happened. Well, okay, well the other question, what did you want to get out of this interview?
Well, I wanted you to tell me how to do my job.
Okay.
No, I guess for you to just pass your knowledge of talking to... So for me, it's learning... So I guess part of our project, and I don't know if we were aware of this when we started, is like trying to do a talk show and like not really being able to do it very well. And like we could do, I mean, a lot of it we can do really well, but like there's technical things that we can't do. And like for me, I'm like a super introverted person. And so doing a talk show is like the hardest thing in the whole world. And so this is therapy for me too. And so I think telling me how to make a talk show and telling me how you've done that.
You're doing a good job.
Thanks. That's what I really wanted. I didn't even want to talk to you. I wanted you to tell me I was doing a good job.
Good job.